hello to you, Ms. McDonald. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on the programme this morning. What does President Biden have to say today in order for Stormont to be back up and running, do you think?
Well, good morning, Kay. And there is great excitement here in Ireland that the president has now landed and commences his tour today, initially in Belfast, as you say. I think undoubtedly President Biden will reflect on the great success of the last 25 years building peace. I think he will obviously reflect also on the huge role of the United States of America in that. I have no doubt that he perhaps shares certainly my disappointment, Sinn Féin's disappointment, that on this occasion marking 25 years of the peace accord, that the institutions aren't up and running, that we still don't have government in Belfast, and that the DUP continues its boycott. So I hope there will be a very positive, forward-looking message. I have no doubt there will be, but also a very clear message that now is the time to end the boycott, to stop this sense of limbo, and to deliver for people in the north of Ireland of all political persuasions the government that they deserve. We're nearly a year on now from the election last May.
It was a visit by a previous visit by President Clinton that finally got all sides together to get the Good Friday Agreement signed. Do you feel that the presence of another president could make the difference, I suppose, is my question?
Yes, I mean, I think throughout this process over many, many decades, the importance of international partners in making peace in Ireland has been absolutely essential, and none more so than the United States of America. So this is, Kay, a very significant visit. It comes at a particular moment in time in Irish history, 25 years of peace, reflecting on all of that, but crucially also looking forward. And the president is, as you know, joined by Joe Kennedy, the appointed envoy of his administration to Ireland, to the north of Ireland, and his brief is explicitly economic. So there's a huge appetite here and in the United States, and I hope also in Britain, with the British government, to make big economic progress in the north of Ireland. There's a huge opportunity here for jobs, for investment, for improving people's standard and quality of life. And I really hope that everybody is forward-looking enough, smart enough to grasp that opportunity. And certainly Joe Kennedy's role is to work to partner with people in Ireland to take advantage of investment opportunities, opportunities for innovation, and the clear opportunity that the north of Ireland has in maintaining access to the European market for goods. That's a very, very significant thing that was secured in the aftermath of Brexit through negotiation, a very long, very painstaking negotiation. All of that is now done. And it is now really a moment for all of us to move on. Any further limbo or delay is not good. I mean, it's unacceptable for people in the north of Ireland. It's bad for Ireland as a whole. And it's bad for politics more generally. It's bad for the Anglo-Irish relationship. We don't need inertia. We need energy and momentum and positivity and a forward-looking view. And I very much expect and hope that President Biden and the American delegation will bring that sense of purpose and also a sense of urgency. The DUP have had time to reflect. I think people have been patient and respectful with them, but now is a moment for action. I mean, things cannot drag on without government for much longer.
OK, that was a chunky answer, wasn't it? Let me take you back to the start of that answer when you said 25 years of peace. Others would say mostly peace, not least thugs, terrorist thugs, trying to murder a police officer in front of his young son.
Yes, absolutely. And that is notable, Kay, thank God, because it is now the exception. That's an exceptional trauma, and one which, as you know, was roundly condemned by one and all. And the response to that awful act right across the community could not be missed. And those that carried out that action do not enjoy the support of any element of Irish society. They are destructive, they are misguided. And let me say, as an Irish Republican, as a committed, united Irelander, they do absolutely nothing to advance the cause of Irish reunification. All they do is sow division and fear. And I would ask them to desist and stop. And I speak for the vast, vast, vast majority of people, again, of all political persuasions right across our island.
Petrol bombs thrown at the police on Easter Monday during the commemoration of the Easter Risings back in 1916. Suspected pipe bombs found in a cemetery this week. Dear Lord.
Well, I mean, the 19th Easter is a very political moment. It's a moment for many of religious celebration and marking, but it's also very political because we commemorate the 1916 Rising right across the island. There are hundreds and hundreds of commemorations, a big state commemoration in Dublin, and they are marked by passionate reaffirmations of commitments to Republican values of equality and solidarity. And the disorder that you described, again, is extremely limited. It is, of course, regrettable, but it does not mark the general atmosphere or tone of life or society or politics in Ireland. On the contrary, Ireland is stable and peaceful and optimistic and forward looking. And you cite those limited incidents, and of course, they catch the headlines because they're dramatic and they should not happen. I mean, let me just say that absolutely. But they are marked by the fact that this is a very, very limited phenomenon now in Ireland. And that's the real measure of what has been so painstakingly and successfully built now over a quarter of a century by all of us working in partnership.
Let me take you back to where we started, Mary Lou McDonald, then I must let you go. I know we were talking about Biden and his involvement or otherwise in Northern Ireland politics. The reason I was asking you, because former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, he's warned that American influence on Northern Ireland politics has to be used with care and sensitivity.
Well, I think care and sensitivity is necessary all round, isn't it? Because we're dealing with a situation where we have a disputed border still on our island. There are those of us that wish for Irish reunification. We will work day and daily, democratically and peacefully for that. And there are others who wish to see the maintenance of the union. And it's a very, very live debate, and it needs to be a respectful debate. So I absolutely agree with Tony Blair that care and caution, and above all else, respect has to be at the core of our dealings. And I have to say that I have seen nothing and would anticipate nothing less than a very, very respectful, but also a very energetic, very positive presentation from the United States president, the home, after all, of what we call a can-do attitude. And I, for one, welcome that level of momentum at this point in time to our process. And I hope it gets a good and fair and a respectful hearing. And I hope that we see the DUP rise to the occasion, respond to the moment, and above all else, respond to the democratic wishes of the people expressed almost a year ago, and that we get Michelle O'Neill in as the First Minister for all, and we get government going, and let's get the work done. Let's start serving the people fully.
Okay, great to see you. Busy day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kate.
Thank you. Chatting to Peter Westmacott earlier, the former UK ambassador to the US. He was working in the embassy in Washington when the Clinton administration granted Gerry Adams a visa. He told me how the UK reacted.
That was the time Robin Redding was the ambassador, Jonathan Powell, Tony Blair's chief of staff shortly afterwards, and I were all in the embassy at the time, and we were not impressed at the way in which the advice of the British government, a close ally, not to give visas to Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness was ignored by the White House. We thought that it was premature before business of using violence in pursuit of political objectives had been set to one side by Sinn Fein. So it was a moment of some difficulty. I think it was almost 5 days that John Major didn't take a phone call from President Clinton to discuss this afterwards. But I think, and I've written this afterwards, I think that with hindsight, partly because we were so enraged by that, it turned out to be a risk for peace that was worth taking, and it bound the leadership of Sinn Fein and to some extent the IRA into a peace process from which there was no escape unless they were going to burn their bridges with the Clinton White House. And they really didn't want to do that. So it was one of those moments when, although we didn't like it, I would say with hindsight that it was a helpful intervention by the US government.